Hey y'all, it's your fellow human being himself, Leo here. Hope you're doing well. And today we're going to talk about how to do rhythmic ducking with ReaGate. This video was inspired by a tutorial I saw on Tony Barth's channel on how do you set up a sidechain with ReaGate to do audio ducking in Reaper. And in that video, he kind of talks about how to set it up and so on and so forth. And he mentioned a couple of parameters towards the end where I'm like, oh, I would like to explore those. And after applying it for like a couple of months on different projects here, I was just like, this would be a good video to kind of just supplement that video, which is linked in the description below, and just kind of provide like some other cool details about how to set up your audio ducking for a more musical context. So we are going to cover some things that are mentioned in that video, like how to set up ReaGate so that you can be able to sidechain your kick or whatever against your audio samples. And we're going to talk about different parameters that are going to be very cool to play around with that affect how you rhythmically duck an audio sample in a musical context. And then some final tips towards the end. But yeah, all that being said, let's go. Let's get started. Okay, so the first step in setting up our ReaGate so that we can be able to do rhythmic ducking is we're going to create a connection between our track that we want to duck and the trigger. So how we can do this is we can either set up a send or a receive, which basically do the same thing, it's just in opposite directions. Send data, receive data.
One armed, two closed folder ambience sounds.
In my case, I'm over my sample track, so I'm going to create a receive. So the way you can do this is by hitting Alt Control Shift F10 to access a context menu.
Context menu.
And in this context menu, you have an option to your master send.
Master send checked M.
Your sends.
Send submenu S.
If you want to create a send.
Receive submenu R.
And then receives. So in my case, I want to create a receive, so I'm going in here.
Add receive from new track A.
And then I'm going to go to my kick trigger track.
1, 3, 4, 5 kick trigger 5.
And then hit enter on that.
Swim of forgetfulness left bracket modified right.
And to access that context menu other ways, if you have an applications key, you can hit Alt Applications to access that menu. And if you have a functions key, you can just hit Functions, Alt, Right Control, and it will access that menu as well. If you're on the Mac, you can just hit Control 3, and all these key commands are from the OSARA key map. So make sure you have that installed before doing that. Once you have a connection established, then you can hit I to go into the IO dialog, which is your routing dialog.
Routing for track 2 : ambience sounds left paren.
And we're going to tab until we find this button.
Track media dash combo dash receives dash receive from track 5 quote kick trigger quote left paren 4ch right paren : delete button.
So it's going to give you the name of the receive, which is your track, whatever it may be, and then a delete button if you want to delete it. In this case, once you're over this button, hit Shift F10.
Context menu.
And it will open up another context menu where you can adjust parameters and arrow down until you find
MIDI volume envelopes and mute M. Phase / polarity P. Mono M. Destination audio channel 1 / 2D.
Destination audio channels. Once you find that, hit enter on that.
Context menu.
And then arrow up until you find
left paren. New channels on receiving track right paren. Submenu left paren.
New channels on receiving track. By default, it only, when you're creating a receive, it will automatically put them on channels 1 and 2. If you want to add more channels, you can just go up to this option and hit enter on that.
2/3
And then since we want our receive to receive data from 3 and 4, we arrow down
3/4 3.
And then just hit enter on this.
Routing for track 2: ambience sounds left paren.
And once that is done, now the receive is only going to receive data on channels 3 and 4. And now we can exit out of this.
Swim of forgetfulness left bracket.
the next thing we're going to do is set up our gate. So hit F
FX :
to go into the effects window. And I already have a preset saved, so I'm already focused on that preset. But Shift Tab, and then you're going to find a checkbox.
Remove button, add button, output mix grouping, invert gate left paren, duck right paren, checkbox checked.
That option we need to have checked. And then we need a combo box.
Preview history detector input : combo box auxiliary inputs collapsed.
And we need to set our detector inputs to auxiliary. And that's generally about it. Now, by default, here's what it will sound like if you're going to be ducking. So it's very quick. My default settings are kind of like very low. And we're now going to go over those settings right now. Now, for this part, I'm going to go into the OSARA parameters list, but if you want to follow along in the effects window, you can also do that as well. But I just want to do this for quickness.
FX parameters :
So I'm only going to focus on 4 parameters, which are threshold, and then I'm going to focus on attack
left paren,
release
left paren,
and hold
left paren, right paren.
So there are other parameters that you can adjust and have fun with, like low pass and high pass, which basically do what they say. It just causes the frequency spectrum to be shortened so that ReaGate only focuses on whatever's above or below that frequency cutoff. But I'm not going to focus on that here. I'm just only going to focus on what I kind of generally tweak more often here than not. So threshold
left paren
is just the cutoff point that you set, above which, if the signal is detected, it will cause the sample to duck. And if below that cutoff, it will just not cause the signal to trigger it at all. So if you're, in my case, my threshold is set to negative 32.7.
Value : slider minus 32.7 dB.
So negative 32.7 dB. So anything above negative 32.7 will be detected, and it will trigger the ducking to happen. Anything below that will not cause the ducking to happen at all. And my kicks are at like negative 8 dB, so it's high above that.
Parameter : close but parameter :
Now the next thing we're going to talk about is attack.
left paren, 1 right paren.
So attack is basically the time it takes to completely duck the signal, with lower values causing quicker ducking, higher values causing longer ducking. So as an example,
value : slider 2 milliseconds.
I have it at 2 milliseconds, and as you've heard, it sounds very quick. So that's what you hear when you have a lower value of ducking. But let's just say we have this at 500 milliseconds.
500 milliseconds.
And let's just hit play. So basically, at a higher value, it almost causes like a fade out effect, where it gradually fades the signal out to 0. Whereas if you're doing shorter values or smaller values, it's just going to cause a quick in and out, fade in, fade out, fade in, fade out. Fade out, fade back in, fade out, fade back in.
0 millisecond, 1 2 millis, 1 0 mil.
And if you have it at 0, you're maybe going to experience some clipping. So I don't know if you can hear that, but it's clipping the signal here.
2 milliseconds. 3 mil.
I'm just going to keep it at 3 milliseconds for now.
Parameter :
hold.
Hold left paren.
Now, hold is a very interesting parameter because it determines how long of a silence period you will have when ReaGate fully ducks the signal. When your kick trigger activates the ReaGate, it will cause the signal to duck. It will cause the signal to duck so there's no volume coming from your music track. this will determine how long of a silence period that will be whenever you fully duck the signal.
Pre-dat hold left paren.
In my case, I have it set to 0.
Value colon, slider 0 milliseconds.
And that's just a quick in and out. But let's say you want a longer period of hold. Then you can probably adjust it to be, let's say 100 milliseconds and see what it sounds like.
20, 40, 60, 80 millisecond, 100 millisecond.
Here's what it sounds like. So that's kind of good in just kind of like creating more movement in your piece. And yeah, I don't know. Definitely experiment. It's kind of fun, especially if you have hi-hat patterns.
Parameter colon, combo box hold left.
Release.
RMS size left paren, release left paren, to right paren.
Now with release, this is the opposite of attack. So it's the time it will take to go from ducking the signal back to full volume. And as before, the smaller values equal quick release times, longer values equal longer release times.
Value 12 milliseconds, 7 milliseconds.
So we currently have it at 7 milliseconds. Let's say I'm going to put it up to like 500.
5,000 milliseconds.
Whoa.
0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 600 milliseconds.
Let's just put it there and see what happens. So this kind of does a fade in effect. So if attack does a fade out, release does a fade in, where once the signal completely ducks, then it's gradually going to fade in the signal depending on how high the value is of your release. So if you have a longer release, it's going to take a longer time to fade back into full volume. And that's generally it for all these parameters.
Swim over.
Now, I'm going to try this with a hi-hat trigger.
2 closed fold, 5 kick trigger, 6 items.
Okay, so now I have my receive set up to receive hi-hats.
Muted.
And we have a very high release, so it's not going to accommodate for the 8th patterns.
Unmuted. 2 closed folder ambience. F attack left paren, release left paren, value colon 0 millisecond. 5, 10, 15, 20, 30. Parameter attack left, release left paren, to right per hold left, 99 milliseconds, 0.
Now, that's what it sounds like if you have two things kind of working.
5 kick trigger, 6
We
items.
have our kick triggers, and
Muted.
if I mute this, so this can be helpful in cases where you want to create like a stuttering effect without needing to employ a plugin. Like you can just employ a ReaGate and create a sidechain effect and just have your hi-hats kind of do that. And there you go. You can create very interesting hi-hat patterns. Now, there is one more thing that I want to kind of address before I go, and that is in relation to threshold. I've noticed something. So we discussed that threshold is the cutoff point. Anything below that will not be detected. Anything above that will be detected and will cause the ducking to occur. However, there's a small wrinkle in this, and that is depending on how the sample was recorded, the volume of it, you may find that there's like a headroom. There's a space between when the signal actually will continue ducking and when the signal just stops ducking. And that can still be above the threshold. So what I mean by that is, I'll take the hi-hats for example.
7 high dash hat triggers, 3 items.
So my hi-hats are negative 16 dB right now. They're way above the threshold. However, with these hi-hats, I find that there's 10 dB of headroom between my hi-hat level and the threshold. So in order for it to actually still duck anything, it needs to be 10 dB of difference between there. So my threshold is at negative 32 dB, round thereabouts. If I drop this to negative 23, it will stop ducking.
Track minus 21, minus 23.
Oh, sorry, wait.
2 closed folder, 5 kick trigger, 6 muted.
So let me just mute that so you can hear it.
Eight muted bass, 3, 7 high dash.
And that's the thing, it's still above the threshold, but it's now not ducking anything at all. But if I move it up just 1 dB, then it will start ducking again.
Track minus 20.
So that's something that you will definitely need to take into consideration when you're going to use any samples, is even though you have a low threshold, and the threshold may be low enough to encapsulate all those sounds, but if the sounds within that threshold range are still not loud enough based on their original recording, it's probably not going to be detected. That's from what I've heard when I brought this up to my friends in the Reaper community to help me understand why is this happening. So yeah, that's kind of generally it. And obviously there are many use cases for these types of ducking. You can use this to create vocal stutters or just stutters in general. You can just do this to create like a lo-fi chill vibe, just to add more motion to your mix. And overall, it's just a fun effect to kind of experiment with. Overall, man, hope this information is helpful to you. And definitely look in the description below. Definitely check out Tony Barth's video and all the resources regarding OSARA and anything else in the description below. And hope you have a wonderful day. Keep safe and shalom. Peace.